When I first landed in the Philippines, I thought I already understood love. Or at least, I thought I understood dating, relationships, and what women usually look for in men. Back home, love often came wrapped in expectations, career titles, height requirements, filtered photos, complicated texting rules, and a strange fear of vulnerability. I had spent years watching my Ukrainian friends navigate relationships that felt more like negotiations than connections. So when I started hearing stories, real ones, not rumors that thousands of Ukrainian women were choosing Filipino men, marrying them, building families with them, I laughed at first. I assumed it was just another internet exaggeration. Then I started meeting them, and suddenly, it wasn't funny anymore. It was real, and it was surprisingly beautiful. The first Ukrainian woman I met was named Katya. She was sitting on a plastic chair outside a small sari store in a provincial town, laughing so hard she almost spilled her coffee. Her husband, a quiet Filipino man named John, was patiently fixing a broken electric fan using nothing but tape and pure determination. Katya noticed me staring and waved me over like we were old friends. 5 minutes later, I was drinking instant coffee with them, listening to their love story while chickens walked past us like unpaid background actors. Katya told me she used to live in Kyiv. She had a good job, spoke 3 languages, and dated men who looked impressive on paper. Engineers, managers, businessmen. Very confident, she said, rolling her eyes. Too confident. She explained that many men she dated believed emotions were weakness. Apologies were rare, listening was optional, and kindness? Sometimes treated like a favor instead of a standard. When the war started, her life changed overnight. She traveled, volunteered, met people from different cultures. And somehow, through a random online conversation that started with bad English and a smiling emoji, she met John. John didn't impress her with money or status. He impressed her by asking if she had eaten, by waiting patiently when she needed time, by remembering small details she mentioned weeks before. When she cried, he didn't try to fix her. He just stayed. In Ukraine, she said softly, men are taught to be strong. Here, men are taught to be kind. John looked embarrassed and pretended to focus on the fan. As one traveled through different towns and cities in the Philippines, I kept hearing similar stories. In Manila, I met Alina, a former marketing executive now running a small online shop with her Filipino husband. In Cebu, I met Yulia, who married a tricycle driver and said she felt safer and more respected than she ever did dating wealthy men back home. In Davao, I met a couple who couldn't communicate well in English at first, but somehow understood each other perfectly when it mattered. What shocked me wasn't just that Ukrainian women were choosing Filipino men, it was why. One of the biggest reasons was emotional availability. Filipino men, generally speaking, are raised in families where emotions are openly expressed. They grow up seeing their fathers joke with their mothers, tease them, argue loudly, then laugh 5 minutes later. They see men cry at funerals, pray out loud, sing karaoke with zero shame, and openly show affection to their children. For many Ukrainian women who grew up in emotionally reserved households, this felt like discovering oxygen after years of shallow breathing. Another reason was respect, and not the performative kind. Not flowers once a year respect, daily respect. Filipino men tend to see partnership as teamwork. Many Ukrainian women were surprised by how naturally Filipino men shared responsibilities. Cooking rice, washing dishes, taking care of children without acting like they deserved an award. One woman told me, half joking, "In my country, a man changing diapers is a hero. Here, it's just normal." There was also the way Filipino men treat women publicly. Holding bags without embarrassment, walking on the traffic side of the road, introducing their wives proudly to friends and family, not flirting with other women in front of them like it's a sport. For women used to jealousy games and power struggles, this felt refreshingly peaceful. Of course, it wasn't all fairy tales and sunsets. Cultural differences were real. Ukrainian women are often direct, blunt, and emotionally intense. Filipino men are more indirect, conflict avoidant, and polite to the point of silence. This caused misunderstandings. One Ukrainian woman told me she once asked her husband if something was wrong, and he said, "It's okay," which in Filipino language sometimes means, "It's very much not okay." They laughed about it later, after 3 hours of confusion and one emotional meltdown. Language barriers also created hilarious moments. I heard stories of romantic messages being mistranslated into accidental insults, marriage proposals ruined by bad grammar, and serious conversations interrupted by Google Translate confidently lying to both parties. But instead of frustration, these moments often became shared jokes, bonding experiences, stories told at family gatherings. Economics played a role too, but not in the way people assume. Many outsiders believe Ukrainian women choose Filipino men because they are easier or less demanding. That idea collapses the moment you talk to these women. They didn't come looking for providers. Many of them were already independent. What they wanted was peace, stability, a partner who didn't see masculinity as dominance. In the Philippines, despite economic challenges, many Filipino men measure success differently. Being a good husband, a present father, a reliable partner. Those values resonated deeply. Family culture was another huge factor. Ukrainian women often come from close-knit families, but Filipino family culture operates on another level. Birthdays feel like weddings. Sunday lunches turn into reunions. Neighbors are unofficial relatives. At first, it overwhelmed many foreign women. Suddenly, everyone had an opinion. Everyone wanted to feed them. Everyone asked personal questions with zero warning. But over time, many Ukrainian women realized something important. They were never alone. One woman told me that when she got sick, her husband's entire family took turns bringing soup, medicine, and unsolicited advice. She laughed and said, "In Ukraine, you get one message saying, 'Get well soon.' Here, you get 12 people knocking on your door." That sense of community, of shared responsibility, made life feel warmer, especially for women far from home. Then there was the humor. Filipino men are funny. Not always intentionally. Sometimes they're funny because they don't realize they're being funny. The way they laugh at themselves. The way they survived difficult situations with jokes. The way they can turn a power outage into a karaoke session and a flood into a story they'll retell for years. Ukrainian women, who often use humor as a coping mechanism, found this deeply compatible. Laughter became a shared language when words failed. From an educational perspective, this trend also highlights something important about globalization and relationships. Love is no longer confined by geography. Cultural exchange isn't just about food and music. It's about values, expectations, emotional norms. Ukrainian women choosing Filipino men isn't about one culture being better than another. It's about compatibility in a changing world. The Philippines offers a slower pace of life, especially in provinces. For women coming from high-pressure environments, this slowdown can be healing. Less competition, less constant comparison, more presence. Filipino men often prioritize time over ambition, relationships over status. For some women, that shift is life-changing. At the same time, Filipino men benefit from these relationships too. Ukrainian women bring strength, independence, honesty, and resilience. Many Filipino men learn to communicate more directly, to expand their worldview, to appreciate different traditions. These relationships become mutual growth spaces, not one-sided fantasies. Of course, there are challenges: bureaucracy, cultural misunderstandings, financial adjustments, homesickness, raising children between cultures. But the couples I met didn't romanticize perfection. They chose commitment. They chose patience. They chose each other. One evening, I sat with a mixed group of couples watching the sunset by the sea. Filipino men, Ukrainian women, children running around speaking 3 languages at once. Someone grilled fish. Someone played music from a phone speaker that kept cutting out. It wasn't cinematic. It was better. It was real, warm, alive. A Ukrainian woman beside me said quietly, "I didn't come here looking for love. I came looking for safety." She paused, watching her husband teach their child how to count shells. But I found something stronger, and that's the part people miss. This isn't a trend driven by fantasy or desperation. It's driven by human needs. To be seen, to be valued, to feel calm next to someone. In a world obsessed with speed, status, and surface-level attraction, thousands of Ukrainian women are choosing Filipino men because they offer something rare, emotional safety wrapped in everyday kindness. It's not flashy. It doesn't always look impressive on social media, but it lasts. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Love doesn't always come from where you expect. Sometimes it comes from a small town, a quiet man, a simple question like, "Have you eaten?" In a life that feels lighter because someone chooses you every day, not loudly, not dramatically, but sincerely. And honestly, after seeing all this with my own eyes, I stopped laughing. I started understanding.